Neighbor, how is your garden growing? Today in my garden, I need to go do some reseeding and start a lawn alternative project, and I need to be doing garden maintenance, and I need to continue filling up these beds, which you haven't even seen me build these beds and start this new vegetable garden. And I was gonna do some seed collecting and all sorts of things, but we're doing none of that now because we have a hurricane coming this way and it's Idalia. And while it looks like we're gonna be lucky enough not to take a direct hit, we live in evacuation zone A, which means that the water can get 4 to 7 feet high. So while we're only gonna probably see tropical storm force winds here, maybe like category 1 storm force winds, we have to like get out of here because I don't plan on swimming inside my house for hours or getting stuck in my attic. So we will evacuate to my parents' house. But since we won't be here, and of course we always know that it just takes a little shove to the right, a shove to the left, and all of a sudden you're in, you're in it. We'll be closing up our shutters and moving the stuff off the patio and putting our pots away. And I'm gonna take my little seedlings that I've been doing so good at, and I'm like really excited that like in September I'm gonna be able to transplant out into this garden. Now we gotta just like, I don't know, like just put it all away. So let's go do that. Before I even like start cleaning and moving everything, I just wanted to show you, I'm so proud. Like, look at my little seedlings. They're doing so good, and they're even getting like their first true leaves on it. I'm so proud of me. These are the early tree ones. I've been so proud of me. I've been staying on top of all the watering and not making all the usual mistakes that I make. And because like the way this area is, they all want to lean and grow that way. So I've been rotating them every day so they're really nice and upright. I've been doing so good. I don't want them to be under 4 feet of water. So we'll see what we can do to try to, do what we can. Well, enough whining, enough moaning about the fact that there's a hurricane. You can't do anything about it except just get ready and get out of the way. So let's cue a montage, right? Let's get going. We don't get those in our neighborhood normally. They're heading inland. We're about done pulling everything in, which wasn't honestly that bad. It's just more of the fact that I think it's more emotionally exhausting every time we have to go through this. It's just kind of like, ugh. Because if you don't get hit, you're like, yay, I didn't get hit. But then you kind of also feel like, well, at least me, I feel like, oh, but we did all that work for what? But then if you weren't to do anything and you get hit and something happens, then you feel bad. At least I would. So, and it's just like a lot of work to move all this stuff around. Of course, it's just like a really hot and humid time of year. So it's not like, yay, it's easy to be outside and move a bunch of stuff around. But the thing is like, I try to look at the bright side of things. And I guess the only bright side of a hurricane is usually it drops the temperature. So we're actually gonna be in the mid 80s for our high, which I really like being in the mid low 80s. So if I have to like go move stuff back, I'd rather be cooler. I mean, if it was a choice, I feel like my oldest son said it the other day really well. He's like, if it was a choice between not having school or having the storm break up, I choose the storm breaking up. So if it's a choice of it getting a little bit cooler out in August or not having a hurricane, I still choose not having the hurricane. Yeah, just choose that, you know? You, same, is it? Or maybe you're like, no, I want the mid 80s. I'll take the hurricane. I don't know. and if you were like, well, what about the vegetable seedlings, Jacqueline? What are you doing with those? Don't worry, they are gonna come in. I'm letting them hang out here because, you know, they're baby plants. So they're like the most vulnerable to like any little like wind, sun differences, water difference, all that stuff. So they're gonna come in last. I'm gonna give them a nice little drink after I start closing up some shutters. And then they're gonna go sit in that like yard cart in the garage. But I'm trying to let them get as much passive light because the garage is dark, right? You know? So now we shall close up shutters. Okay, let me explain this. This came up during Hurricane Ian. I showed us taking out the pavers and then putting the pavers back in. And I know some of the people who are new to Florida were thinking that was because these were like potential debris that could go flying. But then people were like, but wait, when you have to remove all your pavers? So it has nothing to do with the pavers and wind or anything like that. It literally has to do with the fact that these hurricane shutters were put in when we had the original deck here. And then there isn't enough clearance for these pavers at this point and the hurricane shutters. So they won't close if the pavers are in place. They can stay open, or we have to pull out this row to close this set. So that's why we remove these pavers. There's no other reason other than there's just not enough clearance. And we couldn't reinstall this higher because then it's in the way of the, like it's a mess. It just wasn't designed right. That's the long story short. So we just take these pavers out whenever there's a hurricane and we can close these and then we're safe. So you do not need to do this or think about doing this unless you have this very specific and unique situation at your house too. Though I do otherwise highly recommend having accordion style hurricane shutters. You can see we can shutter up this house like basically within 30 minutes, hour max, which is nothing. Nothing, I tell you. Which is nice, because then when it's like, is it a tropical storm? Is it a category 3? What should I do? Like, it's just kind of like, just do it. It's fine. Okay, we'll continue closing up the house, but I did want to explain that so y'all weren't confused again. So while the cleanup's not that bad, and honestly right now for us in Pinellas, we're probably gonna get like tropical storm force winds, which If it was just tropical storm force winds, I honestly wouldn't leave the house. Yeah, I wouldn't, because our house is really good and secure. The problem is the storm surge. With the way this storm is coming up the coastline, it looks like it's gonna push all this water into the bay, and we're in evacuation zone A. So we're predicted to be like 4 to 7 feet underwater, which, you know, that's pretty much the house. When we first moved into this neighborhood used to flood like bad. Before they did some work around the area on like stormwater and drainage systems for not just our neighborhood, but like the whole area, it used to flood. Like I have somewhere deep in my photo reel is of a mud skipper hopping from flower bed to flower bed to flower bed, because there was just, and the water went like halfway up our driveway. And that was just like, because it was Tuesday. It wasn't a hurricane or a tropical storm or a tropical depression or anything. It was just like, it's summer, water's halfway up your driveway. The good thing is, since they did all that sewer, like water work stuff, we haven't had that in a long time. And definitely before like Irma and Ian hit, like it was long fixed. So both those storms hit, I mean, other than like, you know, your storm drains that are like coming right along the house properties, like maybe, I mean, it just didn't look that bad. It looked like normal stuff. We're a zone A, we're definitely a flood zone, as all my flood insurance companies, when we have to get them quoting, is like, yeah, you need lots of flood insurance. We are not high up at all. So we're gonna lock up the house. I mean, we can't sandbag our way out of feet of water. So we'll just lock everything up in case the winds are too high, and we'll go to my mom and dad's who aren't in a flood zone, and we'll just camp out there, and then we'll see what we'll see. And either everything's gonna be fine, or it's gonna be okay, or it's gonna be bad, or it's gonna be really bad. Who knows? Just do your best, get out of the way. The house is good, the yard is good, so generally we're good. I haven't done a full walk around yet, but overall we're fine. But there are areas that are definitely flooding that are right outside of our neighborhood, where getting my car through was just kind of like, but we got the car in. The kids are still at my parents' place, but Ben and I were just like, well, let's just get back to the house. So the storm's still hitting up north. Haven't gotten a lot of updates on that yet, because we were just trying to get everything settled fast. So that's what we're gonna be doing now, is unpacking, putting everything back. Because this is what we do in Florida gardening. We just keep moving stuff around. Put it away, put it out, put it away, put it out. But for us right now, what we need to do is we just need to get things undone, because one of the things, if you don't have someone you can directly help, is get back to doing the things that you need to do. Because when you're in a good place, you can support others better. So we're gonna do this. I'm still getting wind. Woo! So I'm trying to find some silver linings in having cleared off my entire porch for a hurricane not hitting here. So I think I'm gonna be doing some spring hurricane cleaning. We're gonna clean windows. We're gonna sweep out the patio, which is very dirty. Shh, pretend you didn't see that. So good time. Just get cleaner. Just get a little nicer. So all this stuff is put back. Well, I was gonna say where it was before the hurricane, but actually, we don't want hurricanes here. But I always try to find like the good thing. So like it's a time that I could sweep up because I had to get everything out of here. And it's a good time for me to wash the windows that were on my punch list, but were being deprioritized for a cooler season. But you know what? Everything's out of the way, might as well do it now. I also use this time to just tidy up some things, to deal with little things that have been hanging around that, you know, again, I would have held off to, but because I already had to move everything, might as well just go through it and put it away. And even like I started this video, I was like, hey, I gotta reseed. But because I was distracted by something not great, you know what, the seeds showed me that some of them just needed a little bit more time. And I feel like sometimes as gardeners, we feel like we gotta always intervene and fuss at things, especially vegetables, that sometimes something that has to take our mind away, it, you know, when life is lifing, that sometimes that can show you that patience was what you needed most, that you just needed to let the plants do their thing, that you gotta let nature do its thing. So while we don't want a hurricane to teach us this lesson, while we don't want people to have flooded houses and destruction, we can always try to take bad situations and try to find that one little like speck, that one little something, you know, make that little bit of a silver lining to a ginormous storm. So this was an interruption to our gardening and what would have been our regularly scheduled video. So next week you're going to end up seeing us starting to put together the new vegetable garden and talk through all the things that are going on over there, and then carrying on with the usual Florida gardening. So I'm wishing you the best, and at the end of this, all I can say is I hope everyone is safe, and okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.